So, Heather, you're our feature this evening. And while you're relatively new to the community, you're in the community and you're a fine poet. Performing over the course of 30 years, featured at Beast Hall, the Sand City West End Festival, Brooklyn Wildlife, the Pacific Grove Arts Center, the Monterey Peninsula Pride Festival, the Henry Miller Library, Curated Words, and the Direct Action Monterey Network, also Networking Out Loud, Blackthorn Winter, and others. She has performed 3 separate 3-hour shows featuring her original material, as well as performing at many, many open mics. Currently has 2 books, One Foot on the Ground and Another Crazy Trans Woman. She also wrote as well as starred in a play, Daughters of Nothing, which was produced at the Paper Wing Theater to great acclaim in 2017. Now, one other thing I'll add, that phrase, one foot on the ground, there's a renowned friend of mine who, when asked how he was, he would say, well, I have 1 foot on the banana peel. You
Great.
know? And he just look at you until you, oh yeah, I got it. Anyway, so really nice to have you here, Heather.
It is an honor to be here among such a collection of brilliant talent. I want to thank all of you for being here. I especially want to thank Dan and Brett for running things, and a special thanks to KR for turning me on to this event in the first place, the last time she was the feature here. So this, this first piece is from my new chapbook, which is called Another Crazy Trans Woman. And the name of this piece is Panic Button. I'm finally set to go out on one of my bad days, one of those days when the anxiety won't stop. I've done the best I can do to get ready. Decent makeup, hair, blouse, skirt, leggings, jewelry, shoes, and my biggest purse is fully equipped. I've said a prayer to the goddess and she's heard what she's going to hear. My prayer was simple and direct, formed around one request. Let nothing hurt me. May I be strong enough to let nothing hurt me. I step out the front door, lock it up tight, and turn to face the world. And the world faces me. As I step forward, the world closes behind me and surrounds me. It doesn't seem too interested in me right now, and that's how I like it. I walk down the street, my purse swinging rhythmically by my side, hopefully not too much. I think my walk looks okay. I'm late and the bus stop is a mile away, but I've had plenty of practice walking briskly without taking those big strides like I used to. My legs will always be too long, like the rest of me is too tall, but I think I'm moving the way I'm supposed to, not taking up too much space, taking just what I need. My hips rotate a bit with each step, hopefully not too much. Everything looks close to average, and knowing this is usually enough to give me the confidence I need. But then, this is one of my bad days. There are a few people about, none of them very near. Let nothing hurt me. May I be strong enough to let nothing hurt me. Oh, there's a guy staring at me. No big deal. People stare sometimes. It doesn't matter. Who cares where they're staring or what they're thinking? I'll never know. It doesn't matter. Besides, it's been years and years since the last time someone, oh shit, don't think about that. I keep walking. The sun is shining bright. Hey, there's the yellow dog that lives on the corner. It's still around. It's been years since the last time walking. I keep walking. That house is being repainted, and there's a sign for a yard sale. Cool. Maybe they'll have something good, something vintage. It's been years and years since walking. Keep walking. Let nothing hurt me. May I be strong enough to let nothing hurt me. Well, the staring guy has stopped staring, and I'm moving away from him, moving farther away from the past, years and years since some man tried to. No, the sun is bright. The sun is everywhere. I'm walking down this street in safety because this street is safe, as safe as it gets, which is fairly safe, thank the goddess. Although I thought I was safe years and years ago. Stop it. No more. Fuck that. He is not here. He is not here, and I will not be held back by a memory. I will not be held back by a ghost. I am walking. I have the right to do this. I have the right to hold my head up. I have the right to be in a public space. I have the right to exist. I'm just another person. I am walking, and ahead is the bus stop. Walking. On my lips is the hint of a smile, and I get there. I sit down on the bench by myself for about 5 minutes. The correct bus pulls up, and I climb onto it. I take out my courtesy card for a discount because of my disability, and I show it to the driver. He stares at it. The card has an old photo of me. He scrutinizes it carefully, frowns, and finally pushes the button to give me my discount. I feed the machine, I thank the driver, and step over the gray line that separates the front area from the rest of the bus. And oh, there are two empty seats together. Perfect. I walk towards them with my hands busy putting my ID back into my wallet. And before I can sit, the driver jams down the gas pedal, hurling the vehicle forward and yanking my feet out from under me. My right arm flails out and wraps itself across the metal post next to me, mashed against the vertical steel cylinder as my body's momentum swings me around in a 180-degree arc, slamming my left elbow against the interior wall. Pain bursts through my arm, and I let out an involuntary gasp, and it's all I can do to maintain whatever sort of composure I have left. I get my feet under me, make sure my wallet is still in my hand, and stow it away properly. I can't help glancing back towards the rest of the passengers. Maybe a third of them are looking in my direction, with expressions ranging from mild interest to complete indifference. I prefer indifference. I'm just another person. The show's over as quickly as it began. Let them ignore me. They have their own lives, and they'll get where they're going. And despite everything, so will I. Time passes. Okay, I've run all my errands, and now I'm walking home. I'm feeling pretty good. On the spur of the moment, I decide to stop by the neighborhood grocery store. It's bright and it's crowded, and I start to become overstimulated, but I'm confident enough to keep going. I can do this. Don't look at anything except the food I'm here for. Onions, avocados, tortillas, cheddar cheese. I put in a gallon of milk. My shopping basket is getting heavy, but I can do this. I maneuver my way to the checkout line. I'm surrounded by colorful, glossy magazine covers and shiny packages of candy. And people. I won't know if they're looking at me as long as I don't look at them. I can do this. It's my turn. I lift up my basket, and a bolt of pain from my elbow shoots through my arm, and the hard plastic basket slips from my back, from my grasp, and clatters on the tile floor, incredibly loud. No, this is bad. This is wrong. This is not acceptable behavior. I have to pick it up. Not now, not here, not like this. I try so hard to keep things like this from happening, and it's happening anyway. I am such an idiot. I knew there was a risk. I knew I was having a bad day. I knew I had too much to deal with, and I did this anyway. I could have put this off until tomorrow, but I did this anyway. Now it's too late to pick up the basket because I just screwed up and set off a panic attack. Here it comes. The freshly triggered fear is surging up from deep within. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back, the pebble that sets off the avalanche, the spark that lights the fuse that ignites the blast that rocks the containment walls and sends cracks in all directions. The cracks are spreading fast. The toxic sludge I carry inside is churning and boiling and overflowing. My heart is pounding fast, faster, pounding so hard that I can hear it echoing in my throat. My spine is packed full of shards of ice. The freezing cold is spreading through my shoulders, arms, and hands. I am cornered. I am trapped. I cannot be here, and I cannot get away. And the people all around me staring at me. Yes, I'm shaking. Yes, I look strange to you. Too tall for a woman. My face is kind of masculine. And wait till they hear my voice. Wait till someone calls the cops and they come to protect the public from a weirdo like me. Drag me away. Put me in men's holding. They can do that if they want to, and no one will stop them. My heart is punching against my ribs so hard it hurts. How fast is the human heart capable of beating? I suddenly realize with total clarity that I am about to die. People have heart attacks and some of them don't make it. I know I've come through episodes like this before, but I'm still convinced I'm going to die. Thoughts of what's about to happen are stampeding through my mind. Worst case scenarios, nightmare scenarios, terrifying scenarios so impossibly bad that my brain is paralyzed. Situation critical on the verge of total system failure. I'm going to fucking die right here, right now. Please, everyone, ignore me. Nothing to see here. I'm just another crazy trans woman. I hate to leave my groceries on the floor, but that's going to have to be somebody else's problem. Only one concept can make it through my mental hurricane. I have to get out of here right now. Nothing else matters. I shift into full-on survival mode. This is it. Do it. I need to walk out the door. My legs are wobbly, my knees are mush, my sense of balance is lousy, but I manage to take a step. Then another, then another. There are more people in my way. They are not individuals. They are objects blocking my path. I'm sorry, I murmur as I push past them. Don't fall over. Whatever you do, don't fall over. Focus. Left foot, right foot. Keep going. Please, nobody talk to me. I can do this as long as nobody talks to me. I'm sorry, I repeat, my words becoming a strangled gasp. I'm sorry. I barely even remember what that phrase means, but I have a vague instinct that if I keep saying it, I may increase my chances of escaping from this place. Focus, left foot, right foot, balance. I'm sweating. I must look like crap. Focus. I remember my mantra and internally I repeat it. May I be strong enough to let nothing hurt me. My mantra cycles like a flywheel that propels me forward. May I be strong enough. May I be strong enough. May I be strong enough. Keep walking. You can keep walking. It's only a series of simple motions. You've done this your whole life. Keep going. Oh, I'm out the door. I walk across the parking lot. I will be home soon. Left foot, right foot. May I be strong enough. Keep going down the street. Left foot, right foot. Shit. Intersection. Crosswalk. Cars, 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 cars. Green light. Cross. Get across. Almost there. Oh my God. I am almost there. My world has contracted down to a tunnel with my house at the end. This tunnel exists for one purpose, to get my body home. What if I don't have my keys? Of course I have my keys. What if I don't have my keys? I never go anywhere without them. But what if I don't have my keys? I triple checked them before I left. But what if I don't? Here they are, where they always are. I take them in hand like a magical charm that wards off danger. And here is my front door. I unlock it, open it, stagger inside, close it, lock it. Holy shit, I made it. I made it back here in one piece. I open a pill bottle and place a Klonopin on my tongue, and then I collapse on the couch and go limp. Now I can let the toxic sludge flow where it will. It can't cause any more trouble. All it can do is hurt. The anxieties continue to swirl around, but lose their momentum with no fresh source of fuel. Like scavengers that have picked a carcass clean, they begin to depart. I am so worn out now, I feel like I'll never move again. But I've always recovered in the past, and I'll recover this time. As I gradually relax, I find the closest thing to peace that I'm going to experience today. I find hope. Hope that I'll make better decisions in the future, that my next bad day won't be quite this bad, that tomorrow this camel's back will be strong enough not to break, strong enough to withstand whatever tomorrow may bring. Thank you. And in case any of you are interested in obtaining the book, Another Crazy Trans Woman, that this piece appears in, I'm putting my email in the chat, and you can email me for it, and I'll hook you up. Now, okay, we made it through that one. I'm going to change the tone a little bit. This is an old piece, and it's called Spring 1995. I called her Sapphire. She was a small gray cat who showed up at our house one day and kept coming back to our porch. We lived out on the edge of town, and quite a few cats were part of our menagerie. Most of them had just shown up at one point or another. Every day we put a large portion of cat food out on the porch, and whoever wanted any could have it. Some of the cats adopted us, came inside, snuggled up, spent a lot of time with us, formed the kinds of unique bonds that felines can form with humans. She never did that. But for over a year, she kept coming back to our porch. I called her Sapphire. We never knew what she might have been called before she came to our house. At first, none of us called her anything. She would show up, get some food, and disappear. But she kept coming back around, and she started sitting for a while before she took off, and we noticed her. And one day, nonchalantly, one of my housemates named her Rat Girl. He thought that was fine. I didn't want to call her Rat Girl. I called her Sapphire. We never knew where she came from or what she was getting away from, but we could tell she had been through a lot. She had scars visible through her fur. Her tail was gone, only a ragged stump remaining. Her head was tilted at a permanent angle as if her neck couldn't move, and she never let any human put their hands near her. We could walk nearby, but we soon learned not to put out a hand, not to reach our hands anywhere close to her, or she would run off and vanish immediately. I came to hate the people who had done this to her. I wished I could find them, confront them, achieve some kind of justice. I wished I could help her heal from her trauma, but I couldn't do very much. I fed her. I spoke gently to her. I called her Sapphire. One sunny day, I was out on the couch on the porch by myself, playing my drum, just relaxing, enjoying the breeze, keeping a little groove going with my fingertips. Off to one side, I saw her there, watching me. I kept on drumming. I made the rhythm slower. I hoped I could share a feeling of comfort. And she walked closer. I focused on my drum. The drum was in my lap. My hands were on the drum. My hands were staying on the drum. She walked over to the side of the couch. She jumped up onto the back of the couch. She walked along the back of the couch as I stayed in place and played my drum. And as she walked right behind me, she gently rubbed across the back of my neck, soft fur brushing against my long hair. And then she jumped down and walked away. And that was that. Days went by. She came by the house in the usual way until at some point she didn't anymore. I hope it was because she found a place to live, a good, safe place, the kind she had never had. I have no way of knowing. She was gone. That was all. Sometimes the only connection we have is a brief one. But sometimes that one connection is beautiful. And she was beautiful. I called her Sapphire. Thank you. Oh, and I'm now going to change the tone yet again. This is a piece, another autobiographical piece, and in sort of keeping with the theme of autumn, most of this takes place during the summer, but the end is technically autumn, so I guess that technically counts for what that's worth. Okay, this piece is called Sine Qua Non, Summer 1990. This was the most important thing imaginable. I had just graduated from high school, a stifling hive of pressure and conformity. I was about to go off to college, the great unknown, where I would seek out a fresh new community for grand adventures. I wanted to seize the opportunity of this in-between period to celebrate my achievement in a comfortable environment before plunging into an advanced academic realm with heretofore unknown levels of challenge and stress. I had just received a raise in salary at my job at KFC, working 6 days a week, dropping steel racks of breaded chicken segments into the seething cauldrons of grease, earning more money than ever before in my 17 years of life. I was living at home rent-free with few expenses to drain away this income, and so I was free to utilize it however I pleased, except for the most important thing. I wanted to buy some pot. But I was in a small town in Massachusetts, and this summer would henceforth be known locally as the marijuana famine of 1990. I had been a pot smoker for slightly over a year, long enough to become very fond of getting high. And now, as June crept into July, nobody I knew had any weed, and nobody they knew had any weed. The clash between the invisible hand of the marketplace and the all too prominent hand of law enforcement had shut down every connection across the board. Of course, there must have been residents of our fair township who still had access to some, but I was too young and inexperienced to move in those circles. All of my sources were dry, leaving a scene as bleak as the dark side of the moon. I went to Shane, the skater dude who hung out at the Family Fun Center arcade and who held the all-time high scores on Pac-Man, Pole Position, and Centipede. He couldn't help me. I asked Magnus, the trust fund kid who lived out on Penzance Point and drove a metallic turquoise pop-top split-window 1966 Volkswagen bus with a 2-liter pancake engine and a scat shifter. That thing accelerated like a bat out of hell. He shrugged and said, no luck. I tried talking to Lawrence, who everybody hated, who knew how to manipulate his finger scale so it looked like his bags weighed out when they didn't, who always bragged about how big time he was, on and on until you expected slabs of brickweed to fall out of his ass. And he said he just sold the last of it not half an hour ago, but he was about to re-up any minute now, so stick around. Although that meant having to hang out with him. And his hypothetical shipment never materialized anyway. I walked up and down East Main Street, where in the past you could always buy a joint. These days it yielded nothing but other people out looking, asking if you knew anything. As I waited for the spell to pass, I poured my extra cash into my music collection to impress my future college chums with its depth and diversity. I obtained tapes and CDs by Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, The Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, Jefferson Airplane, Janis Joplin, Jethro Tull, Frank Zappa, Traffic, Todd Rundgren, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Joni Mitchell, Elvis Costello, Midnight Oil, The Sex Pistols, Talking Heads, Living Color, The Indigo Girls, The B-52s, Laurie Anderson, The Gypsy Kings, Count Basie, and Beethoven. But as I amassed a lineup of artists that the critics of Spin Magazine and Rolling Stone considered to be essential, the question remained, what was the point of possessing such a banquet of audio delicacies when I lacked the ability to listen to them in the proper state of consciousness? I had long since exhausted my supply of resin, having scraped every piece of paraphernalia in my collection until they were as immaculate as surgical instruments. I had gleaned the tiny fragments of bud from leftover stems and then smoked the stems, coughing until my lungs felt ready to turn inside out as if seeking to escape such harsh treatment. Damn it, I wanted to get high, baked, stoned, fried. I was 17 years old and not especially skilled at delaying gratification. The choices remaining were nitrous oxide, Robitussin, or sobriety. I did enjoy the thick, heavy delirium that came from sucking the cold nitrous vapor out of the plastic nozzle of a whipped cream can, but it was over in the blink of an eye. On the other hand, a tall bottle of Robitussin DM would keep me spun out into the wee hours of morning, but the next day's come down was rather inconvenient, crawling out of bed, unable to focus my eyes and walking into walls, when I had to bicycle to work and chop up cabbage for the next batch of coleslaw with an extraordinarily sharp knife. No. So for the most part, I chose sobriety. But sobriety was boring. I watched Yellow Submarine. Sober. I read all the way through Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Sober. I saw the Ramones in concert and I was sober. What utter sacrilege. I felt like my hedonist credentials had been revoked, and I was no longer permitted to frolic among the pantheon of intrepid explorers of consciousness alteration. I hated sobriety. I felt as if I was one of the boring kids in school who always did what they were told, as if I was sliding backwards into the gaping pit of tedious conformity I had struggled so righteously to put behind me. I wasn't boring. I was cool, and I knew it. But how would the other cool people recognize that I was a kindred spirit if I wasn't stoned? At long last, 2 days before my departure for college, I received the phone call I had been so intently waiting for. Sheila had weed. Sheila, my savior. She was selling bags of mid-grade commercial for 85 and 8. In 1990, that was very expensive, but I'm sure she knew that under the circumstances, she could have charged even more without any customers batting an eye. After a summer of false hopes, it was the real thing. I made a purchase from Sheila as quickly as I could arrange to meet up with her. And then, poised on the brink of leaving home for the first time to begin the next phase of my education and a new chapter of my young life, with no sense of purpose and only a shaky grasp of what I might encounter in the wider world, I treated myself to the indulgence I had been aching for. I settled into the snug seclusion of my bedroom and began the sacred ritual. I lit up a dark red stick of strawberry incense, brought out my favorite pipe from the drawer where it had been sitting sad and neglected, packed a generous bowl, gently slid on my headphones, pressed play to begin the first track of Electric Ladyland, and as my ears were filled with the cascading, otherworldly sonic pulses of And the Gods Made Love, I embraced the countercultural tradition and joined in the family of the freaks and the heads who had made this infinite cosmic journey before me. And I became, well and truly, deeply, profoundly, senses heighteningly, eyes reddeningly, mouth dryingly, feet tinglingly, mind meltingly stoned. And I knew what life was for. Thank you, everyone. You are awesome. Thank you.
Unmute, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Wonderful. Oh my God, I'm crying over the poem. Beautiful.
Wow. What journeys, those were all journeys and well imaged and presented. Wow. Oh,
Well,
go ahead.
I just wanted to say that that's one of the magical things about having a nice long feature spot is that you can combine all sorts of things which don't necessarily always go together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Well done.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna.
I was gonna say it's amazing to hear a feature that makes you feel or have all the reactions. Like I felt pain and grief, and I felt love, and I felt longing, and then I was cracking up over the lead one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, very funny. Oh, the tales we could tell.